weather might be filthy cold today, but I'm feeling quite cosy.
Why? Because I've got this pair for company, a couple of warm hatches.
Let me introduce you to the Peugeot 205 XS and the Fiat Panda 100 HP.
Now, you might be thinking warm isn't exactly hot. Well, I'm here to tell you that performance isn't everything.
Yes, it really is possible to have lots of fun with cars that are mildly souped up rather than highly tuned. And because they're from back in the day, when cars were much simpler, they are also cheaper to buy, maintain and insure. I'll start with the older of the two.
The 205 launched in 1983 and immediately found fond favour thanks to its pert looks and clever packaging, in particular a compact rear suspension that maximised cabin space.
And because these were the days before safety regs demanded door pillars like tree trunks, everything inside is very airy.
The XS model came around in 1986, and a four-cylinder 1360cc engine has just 80 horsepower, which seems comical today. However, while a modern hatch can weigh 1,500 kilograms and more, the Peugeot 205 was around 700 kilos lighter.
Consequently, a top speed of 110 miles an hour is possible, and 62 miles an hour comes up in just over 10 seconds, which is pretty decent for a small car that's nearly 4 decades old.
So, what did the XS cost? Well, back then it was a smidge under £10,000.
Today, a well-maintained, rust-free example like this one will cost about £5,000, which is not a fortune. So, what makes it so much fun to drive? Well, it's all about commitment.
This car doesn't have big tyres with big traction or a big engine to pull you along. You absolutely have to live on your wits with this. You have to stir it a bit to make it work. You have to understand what's coming ahead and how you can get the best out of the next corner whilst not slowing down too much.
And thankfully, the lovely little front-wheel drive chassis lets you do this.
The engine revs freely, the gearbox is good, and honestly, it is no wonder that Peugeot sold 5 million 205s in its 16-year production run.
So, what must you look out for if you fancy a bit of excess?
It might surprise you to know that 205s are pretty resilient to rust. However, the window sills can be leaky, and if, for example, some water gets into the back windows, then drops down into metal which hasn't been properly protected, well, then that is when the rot sets in.
So check the rear wheel arches and sills, or a bill for around 1,500 quid could be coming your way.
Over time, the rear suspension can seize. Nasty noises from the rear and a saggy-looking bottom are your clues. Your bank balance will sag along with it to the tune of £1,500.
Steer clear of these pitfalls and you'll enjoy miles of low-cost motoring in one of the prettiest hatches ever. But now, feast your eyes on this. The Fiat Panda has always been seen as a utilitarian, A to B kind of car. No one imagined it could become sporty, except Fiat.
When the 100 HP was launched in 2006, Evo magazine said that it offered the most fun per pound than anything on the market. The price of that fun? Well, just a fiver short of £10,000.
So, allowing for inflation, the Fiat was much cheaper than the Peugeot. But does it feel it? Not from where I'm sitting.
Ahead of me is a 1.4 16-valve engine that was thoroughly modern for its day.
It revs to 7,000 RPM, and the result is a 0 to 62 time in 9.5 seconds. And there's more.
There are disc brakes all round, and the suspension is stiffer and lower to give it a sportier feel.
It also came with 15-inch alloy wheels, tinted windows, and a few mildly aggressive body parts, plus sports seats and even aircon.
The simple fact is, this little workhorse was treated to so much more than a go-faster paint job. Have I mentioned the sport button?
Pressing this weights up the electric steering and sharpens the throttle response. Quite something 18 years ago, especially on such a budget-friendly car. But is the Panda 100 HP really as much fun as the headlines suggested?
For such a boxy, awkward-looking car, it does handle pretty well. It turns when I want it to turn. There is a bit of body roll, and the steering isn't quite as sharp as it is in the 205, but it is fun, and I can totally see why Evo magazine rated it so highly.
And the best news? Currently, the Panda can be bought for less than half its original price. Yes, £5,000. Nevertheless, there are some areas to look out for if you're in the mood to buy.
The car is very sensitive to suspension geometry, so make sure the wheels are aligned correctly, or else the Panda will be eating tyres faster than bamboo. The shock absorbers can start to leak due to corrosion. Excessive bouncing over bumps is a sign that you will have a £400 bump in your bank account.
And finally,
the power steering motor can fail, so to check it, turn the engine on, make sure you're in normal, not sport mode, and if the steering wheel is much heavier than this, then you could be looking at a £600 bill.
Right then, if I had £5,000 in my back pocket and I was looking to buy an agile, sporty hatchback from back in the day, which would I choose?
Both cars really are so eager to please and are definitely fun. But which one do I prefer, the Panda or the Pug? I have to go with the iconic Pug.